You know, last week we talked about the spell card collection for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and these were some fun accessories for players. But this week, let's talk about some accessories for the DM. Today we're going to be discussing the Bestiary Battle Cards for Pathfinder 2nd Edition on this episode of the Local Disaster Tour Guide. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Mark and I am the Local Disaster Tour Guide. That's right, I am just a friendly storyteller who is calmly assuring you that there is nothing to fear in this encounter. I don't even have the bestiary out right now. Welcome to my channel where we talk about role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. Today we're going to do another The Local Disaster Tour Guide Reviews RPG accessories, and in specific we're going to be talking about the Bestiary Battle Cards for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now, this is a monster of a product, and I was a little curious what I was going to think of this product when it came in, and I will admit up front that my response to this product was a little bit different than I initially anticipated. But I'm going to talk about my thoughts, the strengths of this product, maybe a few weaknesses as well, and hopefully I can offer some insight into whether or not this is something that you might want to pick up for your gaming table as well. Now, a couple of quick things before we dive into this review. First and foremost, this is not a paid or a sponsored review in any way. I purchased the Bestiary Battle Cards for my own gaming table and for my own gaming group. This is something that I bought out of personal interest. No one is paying me to review this product. I am simply taking some time to offer my thoughts about something that I willingly purchased for my gaming table. Also, a grain of salt that I give with any of the reviews that I do on this channel, please remember that this is my opinion, and it is just that, an opinion. I am some random guy on the internet, and ultimately my thoughts are my own. I always recommend, if you get a chance, to look at this product for yourself. Maybe try it out at your local gaming store, or possibly look at a copy that your friend has. The best review you will ever get for any product is to look at something for yourself. So please take everything that I say with a grain of salt. I strongly recommend always check a product out for yourself before making a purchase decision, but I will do my best to offer my honest thoughts about this product, and maybe I can offer some insight into whether or not this is something that you would be interested in. So a quick description. As you can see, this is a massive product. There are 463 cards in here detailing every monster that is found in the Bestiary for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The cards themselves are quite large. One side of the card features very large, beautiful artwork, and then the other side of the card features a stat block containing all of the relevant information for that particular monster. They do a good job making these cards easy to sort. First off, the cards are alphabetical in the box, and then down in the corner, all of the cards are numbered. So this is literally the very first card in the box, but if you have the 73rd card, there will be a small number in the corner that will allow you to know exactly where it should go. One important thing to note is some monsters have more information than can be covered on a single card. A good example would be the Vampire Mastermind. However, Paizo has taken the time to give us 2 cards for any monster that requires extra information. So as you can see, you have 2 cards showing the Vampire Mastermind, and on the back you have the relevant stats. A positive aspect of this is there are no double-sided cards with stat blocks on both sides. You always have artwork for the monsters, which means that if you're using these cards at your table, you always have artwork that you can show your players. And that is an incredibly quick product description. So let's dive into my thoughts and let's talk about this product at the gaming table. If you've seen any of my reviews before, you know that I like to begin at the end. I like to give you my final thoughts about the product, and then I like to work through the review so that you can see how I arrived at that particular grade. I did realize recently that I have never actually expressed what my grades mean on this channel. Now, there is a lot that goes into grading an RPG product. However, my grading scale centers around one idea in particular, which is how much are you going to use that product at your gaming table. A product that is going to see a lot of use, in my mind, is a better investment than a product that you might just use once and then it never sees the light of day. So, an A would be a product that is extremely useful, and it is a product that is going to see use at every single game session that you are running that particular game. A B is a product that is strong. It's going to see a lot of use at your gaming table, but it's not necessarily going to be used every time you play. A C would be a product that is used an average amount of time. Maybe every other game session, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It shows up from time to time, but it's not something that's bedrock to your table's gaming experience. A D is a product that is going to see very little use at your gaming table. These are the products that you're going to open once, maybe twice, and then they're just going to collect dust on your bookshelf. And then an F is a product that you're never going to open. That is the primary criteria I use in grading products. I will say for some products, such as core rulebooks and bestiaries, there are going to be other factors that definitely have to be hooked in evaluating those products. But the core for me is always going to be how useful is this product? How likely are you as a player or storyteller to break this out at your gaming table? As such, another thing that I do with these products is I try to use them at my gaming table and see how it goes, so I have a good idea about whether or not this is something I'd actually use. I don't want my reviews to be any more hypothetical than they need to be. I always try to offer you reviews based on products I have actually tried. And as of this past weekend, I actually got to bust out my Bestiary Battle Cards for the first time. I got to try them at my gaming table. And now that I've got a little bit of experience, I think I can give you some honest thoughts on these cards. So with all of that in mind, my overall grade for the Bestiary Battle Cards is a B. I think that this is a product that is going to be reasonably useful for storytellers, but is not necessarily a product that you're going to be using every single gaming session. Also, I will say this about the Bestiary Battle Cards. This is definitely a product for the prepared storyteller. If you are running a game off the cuff, off the top of your head, if you're trying to throw something together for your group really quickly, or if you need something really fast, much to my surprise, the Bestiary Battle Cards are probably not the product for you. The reality is, there are 463 cards in that box, and those cards are tightly packed. Bravo to Paizo for putting a lot of material and information in this box, but those cards are not quickly accessible. In fact, that's one of the surprise detriments to this product, is really if you want to use the Bestiary Battle Cards, you need to pull out the cards that you want ahead of the game session. If you need to access something quickly, just grab the Bestiary and flip pages. That's going to be a lot quicker. It came as a little bit of a surprise to me, but if you are looking at these cards as a product and as a storyteller, I will say these are definitely going to be planned, prepared session materials. I think there's a lot of value for these cards when you're planning a game ahead of time, but if you need something quick, you're going to resort back to the bestiary itself. Flipping through a book is a lot quicker than digging through cards. Now, with that being said, what is the primary appeal of this product? And let me just say, the primary appeal of this product is saving space behind your storytelling screen. I don't know about other dungeon masters out there, but I know that there is not enough room behind my storytelling screen, and anything that can save me space or save me having to juggle items behind that screen is something I'm definitely going to be interested in. And I do have to say, this takes up a lot less space than this. In fact, that is the primary thing that I like about these cards, is the space-saving aspect of them. This is my actual campaign notebook that I use for my Friday night games. And as you can see, the cards fit neatly inside my notebook. They take up almost no space at the gaming table. This is a huge space saver for me as a storyteller. This past Friday, when I was planning my game, all I had to do was look at the monsters that I was planning on using that session and pull the appropriate cards out of the Bestiary Battle Cards box, stick them in my notebook, and they were quick and readily accessible when it came time to use those in the actual game. Now, there is a little bit of a downside to the Bestiary Battle Cards, but it's kind of the same downside that you would have with the Bestiary itself, which is the stat blocks are obviously keyed to a very specific creature at a very specific level, which means that if you pull out the Goblin Warrior card, you have the information specific to that Goblin Warrior. If you need a stronger or weaker version of the creature, obviously those cards don't exist, but that's not too much of a criticism of this product, because if you were going to open the Bestiary, you'd have the same issue. One of the things I like is that my Game Master screen for Pathfinder 2nd Edition has the elite and weak creature adjustments, and it's actually really easy to look at a Bestiary Battle card and compare it to the elite or weak creature adjustments and make those adjustments on the fly in a game. It's actually a little bit easier to use the card with the information on the DM screen than it would be to use the Bestiary. So strangely, in that case, if you need to slightly tweak creatures, you may find the Bestiary Battle cards more to your liking. Another use that I can see for these cards that I haven't got to try yet, but that I definitely think would be practical, is if you have a player at your table who is interested in playing a summoner, I think that these cards are fantastic, because if they want to prepare a summon spell, ask them ahead of time what kind of creatures they want to use, and then pull out 2 or 3 cards, pass them the cards, and when they cast that summon spell, you don't have to hand them the whole Bestiary in order for them to use summoning magic. They have the stats for that particular creature readily available. I would like to add one final thing that is a little bit of a surprise positive for me with these Bestiary Battle cards, and that's they actually pair reasonably well with the Bestiary itself. So there's a situation that I'm sure other storytellers have run into before where you want to run an encounter with more than one type of creature. For example, let's say that you have a hobgoblin and a band of goblin raiders that work with that hobgoblin. Well, if you were running that encounter normally, you would be flipping back and forth between the hobgoblin and the goblin stats, or what other collection of creatures you might want to use, and it increases the length of time that it takes to actually play out that encounter. But with the Bestiary Battle cards, I can have my Bestiary open to the hobgoblins and have the goblin cards stuck in there with them, and I don't have to flip back and forth. It's a minor situation, but it comes up enough as a DM that I can actually see myself doing that quite a bit at the gaming table, and that was one of the surprise benefits for these cards. One last minor criticism to offer before I wrap my thoughts up here. Obviously, these cards are going to be of limited value if you're playing through an adventure path or some kind of module that has pre-published monsters inside of it. My gaming group is actually running the Age of Ashes adventure path right now, and some of the monsters inside that adventure path are custom to that adventure path. So obviously there are not going to be cards available in that particular instance. However, in running Age of Ashes and going through the first major dungeon in Age of Ashes, I can tell you that I still had cards for a little over 70% of the monsters in that dungeon. Meaning, I still got a reasonable amount of value out of my cards. There were some pre-published monsters that obviously I didn't have cards for, but it was not enough to detract from the overall quality of the experience. So my review of the Bestiary Battle Cards, strangely enough, ends up just a hair behind the Bestiary itself in terms of overall grade. If you remember, I gave the Bestiary and the Bestiary 2 a B+, and I'm giving the Bestiary Battle Cards a B. I feel like they are slightly less useful than the Bestiary, but specifically because they just aren't a quick reference for spontaneous or off-the-cuff sessions. If you need something quick, these cards, it's going to take you too long to dig through them. But if you have time to prepare, you can save a lot of space at your gaming table, you can pass out monster cards to summoners, you will find a lot of nice niche uses that will improve the play at your gaming table, and it is nice to have full color artwork so that you can show people what on earth an Agalothu is. You might not know how to pronounce it, but your players will know what it looks like. So I know that this video was shorter than some of the other videos that I have done for this channel, but I do have another video coming out later this week, and that's actually going to be my main video for the week. I am getting ready to drop my review of the Advanced Player's Guide. The scripting and editing of that video has just taken a huge amount of time, and there's a little bit of a surprise that I'm going to be throwing in that video as well. That should be coming out later this week, so please keep a lookout for that. But let me toss the conversation over to you. Have you tried out the Bestiary Battle Cards? Do you feel like they were a positive accessory for your gaming table? Is there a use for these cards that I didn't think of, or is there a problem with these cards that I didn't notice? Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, subscribe to our channel. Please help the conversation to grow. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.